Welcome to another Fast Tech video. In this guide, I'm going to be showing you guys how to fix your PS5 if the HDMI port is no longer working and nothing's showing up on your TV. This happens due to physical damage caused by bad design and user recklessness. First thing you should do is do a visual inspection of your HDMI port, and if it looks like this, you need to replace it. If the HDMI port on your PS5 is intact, then the problem could be with a Panasonic video encoder chip, and I'll cover that in a later video. For some of you, wiggling the cable around would make the PS5 come back on, but only temporarily. So I'm going to be showing you guys how to replace your HDMI port from start to finish, including assembly and disassembly in detail, showing you where each screw goes back in. FastTechStore.com carries all PS5 parts. Check the links in the description box and the pinned comment. You can use the coupon code YouTube for a discount. Before we start, please go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. To get to the faulty HDMI port, we must take apart the PS5. Remove the stand if you have one attached. The PS5 we're working on is a Disc Edition 1000 series console, but if you have an 1100 series, the assembly and disassembly is identical. You can check your PS5's model number here. Let's take it apart by pulling on the case here and on the other side from here. If that doesn't work, you can also give them a smack, always hitting from the top. Same thing on the other side. The case is held on by these clips. Now we'll have to remove some screws, including removing this warranty sticker, which will void your warranty. More on that later. We're going to use the metal pry tool from our FastTech Pro toolkit to remove this big sticker here, which hides some connectors underneath. Now we have to remove these connectors. The one on the left is for the fan. Make sure you pull on the white part and not the off-white part. The off-white part is the connector on the motherboard, and you do not want to pull that out. A technique I like to use is grabbing all the cables at the same time and pulling them. That's much safer than just trying to grab the connector, like this. Now we're going to pull out this grate, which is a piece of plastic trim held in by clips. Now we're going to use our FastTech Pro Auto Kit, and we're going to hook up a T9H bit, which is included, of course. Check the links in the description box and pinned comment if you're interested. We're going to hook up a T9H bit to our FastTech Pro Auto Kit, and we're going to remove these screws. These hold in the fan. They're different lengths and sizes, but do not worry, I am going to be reassembling this console later on to show you where each one goes. I'd also like to remind people that these videos take a lot of time and effort to produce, so please be sure to check out FastTechStore.com if you need any PS5 parts or repair services. Also, a like and a subscribe goes a long way, and it costs you nothing. Now we're going to pull up on this piece, and it should just come out, and now we should be able to lift out the fan. FastTechStore.com carries all PS5 parts from fans to disk drives to motherboards, and all of our parts include a lifetime warranty. Next, we must remove the warranty sticker, and we can do that using a heat gun. You can skip the heat gun if you don't care about your warranty. If you don't want to void your warranty if you have any left, you can heat up this sticker with a heat gun or a hair dryer and then peel it off without doing it any damage. Heating up the sticker allows us to remove it without separating the two layers. As you can see here, I got the sticker off without much damage. There's a little small spot up here that I'm going to cover with a Sharpie and pretend that I did a perfect job. You can use some sticker paper to preserve this warranty sticker. This can be applied later to the console. Now we need to remove some more screws using our FastTech Pro Auto Kit, which is going to save us a lot of time because this thing has a ton of screws. The PS5 was designed to keep repair people out. A lot of these screws are different lengths and sizes. Some of these are meant for plastic, some of these go in metal. But do not worry, I will be showing you where each one of these goes when I'm assembling this thing later in the video. As you can see, there's screws that look the same but are not the same. This one here in the corner is a long one. This one in the corner here is also a long screw, just like the one up top. This is a small silver screw right here. We'll find more of these on the main board. Thank God for the FastTech Pro Auto Kit and the fact that I'm a genius for coming up with this product. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and check out the description box and the pinned comment if you want this screwdriver. You can use the coupon code YouTube for a discount. This toolkit not only disassembles your PS5 but all other kinds of electronic devices and comes with a lifetime warranty. We're going to switch to a Phillips bit to remove this Phillips screw. Then we're going to also remove this Phillips screw here, and it's got a washer on it. Make sure you don't lose that. Now we're going to pull up on this part of the case and it should just come off. Let's get the disk drive out of the way by pushing down on this clip and pulling on this cable. We're going to do the same thing on this side here. Push this clip as demonstrated here and pull the cable. Now the disk drive's free and we can just lift it out. This is what a PS5 disk drive looks like. Available at fasttechstore.com. Now let's hook up a T9H to our FastTech Pro Auto Kit, and there's about 43 screws, most of them unnecessary and right next to one another. Thank God once again for the FastTech Pro Auto Kit. We need to remove these antenna cables, and we can do so simply by lifting them up. Now let's carefully remove this tape so we can get these antenna wires out of the way. Now let's pull out this ribbon cable here and this ribbon cable here. Now let's remove the 43 or so screws, 42 silver and one long black T9 screw. Once again, if you need this screwdriver, check out the links in the description box and the pinned comment. And because I'm such a generous person, I'm offering my YouTube audience a discount if you enter the coupon code YouTube for a discount. I do this because most of you without a FastTech Pro Auto Kit will get osteoporosis in both of your hands trying to disassemble a PS5 with a hand-powered screwdriver. I was going to speed up this part of the video, but this channel is known for its thoroughness and detail. So witness as I combat each one of these screws out of the system. And now we will observe a moment of silence for all the fallen soldiers without a FastTech Pro Auto Kit. Could you imagine sitting there unscrewing each screw with a manual screwdriver like a lackey? I can't relate. This long black screw here holds the motherboard assembly onto the case. Now we should be able to lift up this piece here, which is the back plate. And it does have some thermal putty on it. Make sure that you don't knock this off. Now let's push down on this clip to remove this ribbon cable here. This clamp holds the APU against the heatsink, and we have to remove it by removing these two Phillips screws here. Let's switch to a Phillips bit once again on our FastTech Pro Auto Kit and remove this clamp. If you lose any of these screws, especially these vital ones, check out fasttechstore.com because we have complete PS5 screw sets in stock. Let's get this clamp out of the way, and now let's remove this piece by simply lifting it up. Now it's time to lift out the motherboard, and this is going to be tricky for a lot of you. Do not use too much force. The motherboard will feel like it's stuck in a lot of cases, but that's because of the thermal putty on the other side. Now that we've got the motherboard loose, we have access to the HDMI port, which is located here. But before we proceed to the next step, we must cover the surrounding components which need to be protected from heat. We're going to use polyamide tape from fasttechstore.com. Check the links in the description box and the pinned comment. We're going to cover all these components that I'm covering because you do not want to heat these up when we heat up the HDMI port. Now let's flip the board over, and there's some components on the other side we must protect as well. This special tape from fasttechstore.com protects these components when we're heating up the HDMI port and prevents them from falling off. For the next step, which requires heating up the port to remove it, we need a hot air station. The FastTech FH1 has a nozzle that's specifically designed for PS5 HDMI ports. Next, we're going to put on some flux paste on the HDMI port, on the data pins, and on the anchor points on the sides. This special paste helps the solder melt more effectively. Check the links in the description box if you need it. Next, we're going to fire up our FastTech FH1 hot air station, which can be purchased at fasttechstore.com. Of course, let's set it to 450. Also, be sure to subscribe to this channel. If 450 doesn't get the HDMI port, go all the way up to 500, but I won't recommend going any higher. The FastTech FH1 is an affordable yet reliable hot air station that does not break your bank. Why spend $1,200 to fix a $400 PS5? That would not make any sense. Like any other product from fasttechstore.com, the FH1 includes a lifetime warranty and free worldwide shipping. Use coupon code YouTube for a discount. Let's start heating up this port with the FastTech FH1, and we're going to use a soldering iron for assistance. I'm heating up the anchor points underneath and heating up the HDMI port from the top using the FastTech FH1 hot air station. A soldering iron is not always required, but certainly helps and accelerates the process. It's important to be patient with this process. I wanted to show you guys in real time, relatively speaking, even though there are edits in this clip, and show you how I did this, taking my time with it, even though I've been doing this for years. You don't want to rush this process. Make sure you don't force the port off, and instead it should come off easily when the solder melts without much force, as I will demonstrate in a few seconds. And off it comes, just like that. There was no force involved, all it took was a little push. Now we want to make sure that the data pins in the middle don't have any bridges in between them. The pins in the middle are the data pins, and the two pins on each side are just anchor points. I'm going to continue to heat these points and add some more solder if required to the anchor points. You can also add some solder to the data pins, but you want to be careful not to bridge them. Let's add some more flux paste to help the solder melt better so it can connect easily to our new HDMI port. Now I'm going to grab my new port using some tweezers that are provided in the FastTech Pro toolkit, and I'm going to heat up the anchor points as I put the new HDMI port in position. Then I'm going to gently push the HDMI port down while continuing to heat up the anchor points with either my soldering iron or my hot air station, or ideally both at the same time. Once I have the HDMI port level against the board, and I use some more hot air to heat up the pins from the top. For our donor HDMI port to work correctly, purchased from fasttechstore.com, of course, the pins on the HDMI port must make good contact with the pads on the main board. As you're doing this, you can also add some more solder to the anchor points to help with this process. We're also going to be doing this later on as well to reinforce the port. We're going to add some more flux paste just as we did when we removed the original port. Add some more heat via the Fastech FH1 hot air station. Assist it with a soldering iron, making sure you're only touching the anchor points and none of the other components around the HDMI port. If you need an original PS5 HDMI port and none of that AliExpress knockoff crap, check us out at fasttechstore.com. Includes a lifetime warranty and free worldwide shipping. Once the port's in, I let it cool off for about 5 to 10 minutes. Then I'm going to add more solder to the back. Add some more flux paste. Now let's seal the deal by adding some more heat with the Fastech FH1 and our soldering iron. Adding more solder ensures that the HDMI port is not going to come off easily. I remove any excess solder using a solder sucker, which is included in our hot air station. Now I'm going to use the Hakko FX951 with a thin soldering tip and go over the data pins, ensuring that the pins are making contact with the main board. Now it's time to remove the polyamide tape. We're going to clean off the flux using some isopropyl alcohol. Also available at fasttechstore.com. Now let's flip the board over and do the same thing on the other side. Removing the tape and cleaning off the flux. Now that our port is nice and clean and flux free, our board is ready to be installed. When putting the motherboard in, the side with the ports goes in first. Now let's get this ribbon cable at the front out of the way, and once again these antenna cables need to be out of the way as well. Let's push down on this clip and insert this ribbon cable all the way up until the blue line. This ribbon cable simply pushes in, and so does this one on the left. Now we're going to install this piece, which has 2 holes that it slots in, and then we're going to install this clamp which secures the APU against the heatsink. It is important to tighten this diagonally, and you don't want to tighten one and then tighten the other. You want to tighten one slightly and then go across and back and forth. This ensures even tightness on the clamp on each side. And if this video is helping you out, please drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel. That helps us out more than you know. Now the back plate goes on, and once again the antenna cables need to be out of the way, and they need to be tucked under the tapes that are designed to hold them in place. Now let's install the connectors. You can simply line them up and push down until you hear an audible click. There's a hook where these cables tuck in, and that's important because you don't want these cables getting pinched in the case. Now let's install the ribbon cable for the disk drive by pushing down on the clip and pushing the cable in. This long screw holds the motherboard and heatsink assembly onto the case. Now we need to put all of these screws back in. Now I'm going to show you guys where each screw goes in, and I've created a diagram for your convenience And I'd like to remind people that these videos take a lot of time to produce, so please drop a like on this video and subscribe. Here's where each screw goes. The blue circle indicates small silver T9 screws, and the white circle indicates a black long T9 screw, which I showed you earlier in the video. Now let's install the disk drive back in by putting it in position, then pushing down on the clip, and then pushing the cable in. Now let's install this part of the case back on, and now we must install all the different size screws on this case. This one goes in here. 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 This long one goes in the corner up top here. This small silver screw goes in here, and this long screw goes in the corner here. This screw goes in here, and this screw, which is slightly different than that one, goes here. This silver screw, these are also on the motherboard, goes here, and this one goes here. This one goes in here. Now let's plug in the power cable for the disk drive, and you want to make sure this cable is tucked in like so. Now let's install the fan by putting it in its place and installing the connector. Tuck the cable in like so. Now let's install this cover on. Now it's time to install the screws in for the fan. This video I did earlier shows you where each screw goes in. Note the different lengths and sizes of these screws. You do not want to mix these up. The shortest screw goes in here. The longest one goes in here. And these two screws that are identical, they go here and here. Shout out to the FastTech Pro Auto Kit for saving me a bunch of time. Check the pinned comment and the description box if you want this screwdriver. Now the Phillips screw with a washer goes in here. This holds on the SSD if you had one installed. Now the cover for the SSD slot. And then there's this Phillips screw with the PlayStation symbols on it that goes on here. Now let's install this cover back on. This ensures that when we put the sliding door back on, our cables aren't going to get caught. Now let's install this grate. You want to install the corners in first, as demonstrated here, and then push it down. It's held in by clips. Now let's install this part of the case back on. Now let's flip the PS5 over, and we have two long torque screws that we must install. One of them goes here, and the other one goes in here. We're going to tighten them with our FastTech Pro Auto Kit. Now let's install the cover back on. Same way we did on the other side, put it in place and give it a smack. Now it's time for testing. Let's plug this PS5 in, fire it up, and let's see if it worked. And we got video output. That's another successful repair from FastTech. If this video helped you out in any way, shape, or form, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel, because these videos take a lot of time and effort to produce, especially in this much detail. This repair guide was brought to you by the FastTech Pro Auto Kit, which not only disassembles your PlayStation 5, but your PS4, PS3, Xbox, Nintendo, and more. All replacement parts from FastTechStore.com include free worldwide shipping and a lifetime warranty. You can use the coupon code YouTube for a discount. Thanks for watching another Fast Tech video. If this content helped you out in any way, shape, or please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel, and be sure to check out fasttechstore.com if you need any PS5 parts or repair services. This is Shiroz from Fast Tech signing out, and I'll see you in the next one.